remember when. I remember when you got out of high school and you went to the Army Navy Eagle surplus and you got you a green Army canvas backpack and you were going to hitch around the U.S.
Right.
And I remember we took you out I-10 west of town, past 295, and dropped you off on the interstate.
Yep.
And we didn't see you again until, I don't know, how long was that? Was it 6 weeks? Was it 2 or 3 months? I lost time. It's not important. But I remember you having, working on that backpack before you left the house, lacing it up with some leather shoestrings. And then on your way home, you stopped by Grandma and Grandpa Thompson's house.
Right.
And remember, they didn't have a doorbell. They had that little wooden knocker. Do you remember the little wood knocker on the door? It says, "We're too poor to buy a bell. A knock from this will serve as well."
That's right.
You remember, had it been a while since you thought about that?
Yes.
Do you wish for me to continue?
Yes.
Okay, good. When you got to the door with Grandma and Grandpa Thompson, Grandma Thompson came to the door. Do you remember what happened? She wouldn't let you in because she didn't recognize you, as the story goes. I don't know. She had to go get Grandpa Thompson, and he recognized you and let you in the house. Do you remember hearing a story, something like that?
I do.
It's been a while since you heard that too, hasn't it?
It has been.
Okay. See, some of my college professors told me to keep a journal. I said, look, I can't keep a journal. So, and then the next one, and you can stew on all this stuff, what you can remember when I get done, after I'm done. I remember we killed a timberline rattlesnake yesterday, right before I got on the phone with you. It had 13 beads on the tail. And I always thought about, that means that's how many years old it is, but I don't know how true that is. Do you?
I don't have an idea.
Okay. And what that made me think of was when you and John killed that rattlesnake and were playing catch with the head in the front yard when Nancy pulled up to the house.
Right.
You remember that happening?
I do.
I didn't see it happen. I just knew, I kept hearing about it. Nancy almost wrecked the car trying to park it in the driveway, blah, 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 blah. But that killing that timberline made me think of that one.
Gross.
And it seems like when you first got your license, you got to drive Bobby's car somewhere, somehow, here in Jacksonville. She had that white GTO Pontiac. I guess that was the one she had at the time, I don't know, but somehow you had a fender bender, either in the garage or in the driveway. You hit a trash can. It was super minor. And mom and dad just lost their mind over it. They restricted you, and, you were the first, so you were breaking everybody in. I don't remember the specifics. Do you remember scratching Bobby's car in the driveway or bumping something and they just went off on you or not?
No.
Huh?
I don't remember that.
Okay. Maybe it was somebody else. Do you remember you and John were taking Bobby to the hospital in Titusville, and they had just built the hospital and the basement kept flooding because they couldn't control the water. And Bobby and you and John were in the elevator and she fainted. Do you remember when that happened?
No.
She fainted, and you and John were wearing these shoes called Hush Puppies. Do you remember Hush Puppies?
Oh, yeah.
They were kind of soft, kind of like a suede or something. And I remember Bobby saying when she fainted, her head hit one of y'all's foot. If it wasn't for the Hush Puppies, she would have hurt herself when she fell on your shoe. I wasn't there. Do you remember that?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, it sounds like I can make up anything I want. All right. Do you remember when you got your job in high school working at May Cohen's?
I do.
Okay. In the men's department.
Yep.
Okay. And do you remember the Levi corduroys, how popular they were?
I do.
Okay. And, McCullen's must have had 20 or 30 different colors, didn't they? You remember all the square little boxes that have the different sizes and colors in all along that wall?
I do.
Okay. And I just remember Mama taking me in. It was school close time, and I got to get like 4 or 5 pairs, and you were working, and I remember you waiting on us to help me get my red, blue, green, whatever corduroy colors, Levi's they were. And then, of course, she always made them about what, 2 or 3, 4 inches longer. So when you grew taller, she could just let the hem out instead of having to buy you another pair. Do you remember that?
I do.
Okay. And you could tell how many times she had let you out because there was a wear ring around those pants, those bell bottoms. Those bell bottoms. So I remember, and then I actually remember getting a couple of pair of your leftover corduroys that had patches and stuff on them. Kind of cool hippie patches. So, all right, I'm about halfway done. I'm not wearing you out, am I? You're not too tired to listen, are you?
I'm getting kind of tired.
Okay. You remember, I remember going to on a lot of church retreats with the church and the youth group, and we went to Fort Clinch State Park, and somebody stole a sign that said campers only after 9 p.m. And we put that campers only after 9 p.m. up in the big den at the house. You
Yep.
remember that? You remember that?
I do.
Okay. Okay. I remember a lot of the after church socials. You know, you're 6 years older, so I was in the 6th grade and you were the senior. So I could hang out with, you know, it was awesome. It was awesome to be able to hang out with the older kids. Do you remember when we were in Titusville going swimming at the astronaut Apollo Cape Canaveral beach called Playa Linda?
I do.
Do you remember we would go by KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken, and for $1, we could get a cold bucket of leftover chicken for lunch?
Yep.
And
I remember that.
And you would freeze a gallon of water, and that's what we would have. We would take the station wagon or whatever. One day we were out there, you know, it's a private beach. You only could go in between launches when they had the gates open and stuff. There wasn't many people out there. One day we saw this huge manta ray jump out of the water, and it was so far off I couldn't believe how big it was. You said it was big as the station wagon. Do you remember that?
I do.
No? But you do? Okay. Good. Okay. Do you remember how you used to walk with a spring in your step, kind of on the balls of your feet?
Yes.
Okay, remember, kind of lively, energetic. I wonder if you could do that now. It's not important. Do you remember when you and I and John went and bought a seining net to go seining at the beach?
I do.
On the way back, we stopped in the woods and we cut down 2 pine trees so we could have a pole on both ends. You remember that?
I do.
Okay, and then we put the net in the water and we seined all the way out and all the way in, and it was all we could do to get that son of a gun back to shore. And lo and behold, you remember what was in the net?
What?
It was a giant granite boulder. Do you remember that?
I don't.
It was a huge boulder. It was like a 200 or 300 pound rock. And we just took it out of the net and we threw it up on the seawall. And it took all our breath away when we dragged that big old boulder back in. And after that, it was a lot easier. Okay,
Right.
I just got a few more and then I'll let you go. You turn the page, I had to write them down. Okay. Do you remember the trip that we took around the United States in 1970 to go see Aunt Anne?
I do.
Okay. I remember the trip around the U.S. in the 1974 Country Squire station wagon. It was a lot like Chevy Chase's National Lampoon's vacation station wagon. They called it the Truckster. But we had the wood paneling on the side. You know, John wrecked it when we got back with it. I remember we all had our own seat in that station wagon. You know, we all got out, did our thing, and it was time to all load up. For the most part, we had to get back in the same spot. Everybody had their own seat. Yours was behind Nancy on the passenger side, middle seat, and you'd always prop your legs up on the back of the seat behind her and settle in and just get a good look, and you'd read more than anything. Do you remember that?
I do.
Okay. Couple more. We were in a meet at Grandma and Grandpa Thompson's one time, and I remember Grandma Thompson telling us that on Wednesday afternoons everything closed. They rolled the sidewalks up, and I couldn't understand how you could roll up a concrete sidewalk. But you wanted some peanuts. You wanted some boiled peanuts, and so you and I guess Grandpa Thompson or Marion or somebody went and got some boiled peanuts somewhere and brought them home for Grandma Thompson to boil for you. And she said these things were so green she could plant them. I don't know if you ever remember that or not.
No.
Okay, a couple more. Do you remember? I remember the summers at the YMCA, going swimming at the YMCA. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay. And then they had the in-ground trampolines. And then Marion got a job for you and John to bury this electrical line for the YMCA sign out by the road, and y'all had to dig this ditch. And y'all came home, and I'd never seen y'all so tired. Y'all said that was the hardest work you'd ever done. I wasn't there. I didn't see it. I didn't know if you remembered or not. But I remember, you know, you swimming and us getting the lessons, minnow, tadpole, you know, the different fish as you graduated swimming lessons. You were different fish. And then I guess probably about the last thing I remember shrimping, going shrimping with y'all in the St. Johns River. And we would go during the day. We would either use old cat food cans that were dented, and we'd open them at both ends, and we put these cane poles out, or we'd get fish meal and clay, and we'd ball them up and put them at the cane poles during the day, and then we'd go back out at night with the Coleman lantern and cast the nets at the cane poles and go shrimping. Do you remember that?
I do.
Okay. All right. Well, that's all I have right now.
Okay.
So, if what I'll do is, if you're still alive in a couple of weeks, I'll call back, or I'll have them call me again like this, and I'll keep writing down some other memories.
Sounds like a great memory. A great thing to do.
It's the lowest form of communication. But it's better than nothing. You know, I wanted to go out with a bang, so, you know, I want you to remember me for, you know, some of these things.
Right.
So I'm going to keep doing that until I don't have any more. Okay?
Okay. Sounds
All
good.
right, I love you, and I'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
All right, bye.